Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Amud Yomi Shiur. Ooh, people are on the phone. People are on Zoom. We are all over the place. Baruch Hashem. Ooh. The screen's moving. So we are now in Maseches Kiddushin Lamed Hey Amud Beis. Lamed Hey Amud Beis Maseches Kiddushin. We are learning about three different isurim, three different Torah prohibitions, three lavim that apply to men and not to women. This is rare because all of mitzvahs lotas say they all apply to women. Man groma, not man groma. Yeah, all prohibitions apply to women except for three isurim. What are they? We're going to see soon, and we're going to soon switch to this beautiful piece of paper, the sikum, the psukim. We are going to read nice and slow through the Psuki Torah that tell us about certain prohibitions that may only apply to men and not to women. This Shiur is Le'ilu Nishmas of Imoyri Menachem Ben Akiva Rus Bas Shalom Sobas Moshe to the very quick redemption release of the Shvuim of the captured people, Hashem Yishmo, and to the success of our soldiers, Bezos Hashem, should be Metzlich, to be good shlichim for us. So let's look at the psukim. These psukim all apply to different Isurei Torah that we're going to discuss today. And if we see them inside the psukim, I prepared this chart especially, and I accentuated different things. V'chule. No thanks. Yes, it says in the Torah, Vayikra Yutes in Parshas Kedoshim, Lo takifu pa'asroishchem v'lo tashchis es pa'asikonecho. These are two separate isurim. Lo takifu means do not cut your payas, right? Lo takifu relating to cutting the payas, whichever way it's osur, and very sadly in our neighborhood we have barbers who do that, and it's terrible. Lo takifu pa'asroishchem, don't cut the payas. Lo tashchis es pa'asikonecho. Do not destroy. Literally, tashchis means to destroy. Do not shave with a razor the konecha, the peos, the corners of your beard. These are 5 different corners. We don't know which ones they are. So basically, the whole beard is also to be mushchas with the zokon. You're not allowed to shave your beard you are allowed to, but not with tar, not with razor. So these are 2 isurim, the peos and the beard. Now, a few prokim after that, let's go to number 2. There, the Torah speaks specifically to Kohanim. Oh, why did I stress? Why is it in bold letters, the Bnei Aharon? Hashem is talking in Parshas Emor to the Bnei. Don't tell me children of Aaron, because it's not true. Bnei Aaron means the sons of Aaron and not the daughters. Because those Isurim that apply to Kohanim only apply to men Kohanim and not to female Kohanois. Bnei Aaron, number 1, we already see the prohibition of being tome lemeis, of becoming in contact with the dead and becoming tome, only applies to men, not to women. Then there are important to know. There are a few psukim that we're not going to go into, but it's important to know that they're there, that apply, that tell us the details of tuma. Yeah, what kind of people you shouldn't become tome to. Look at the last pasuk of section number 2. Lo yikrechu kocho beroishom. There are 3 prohibitions that seems to apply to Kohanim. Lo yikrechu korcho beroishom. Isur korcho. So far we had 2 isurim and 1 about tuma, and 2 isurim to do with hair, 1 tuma. The 4th one over here, lo yikrechu korcho beroishom. What does it mean? A kohen, and as we're going to see also Israel, if he's very sad, lo aleinu, a relative died, someone's son died in Gaza, chas v'sholom, yeah. So then he's so sorry. I don't want to show on myself, but he starts tearing his hair. Yeah, out of sorrow, to demonstrate his sorrow, tears the hair of his head. Yeah, so that's also, how do you know it's related to the dead? We're going to see that later. And then it says, again, it talks about peas zokon, about the beard. It says that kohanim should not shave. What's legaleach in Hebrew? I don't know. Yeah, maybe ask an Israeli. Legaleach. What's legaleach in Hebrew? To shave, Rabbi, to shave. Mechonat giluch is a shaver. They should not shave their beards, meaning with tar. What's bibsorum? That is to say, they should not scratch their flesh, meaning to scratch stam is a different story. But if you scratch over your dead to show a very strong demonstration of your sorrow by what? Scratching, and actually bleeding, causing a bruise, blood to come out, that is also osir. Very funny. Does it only apply to Kohanim? The Chor, it applies to everybody else. All that will be discussed. But we see that at the top of number 2, Bnei Aaron, it looks possibly that these psukim only apply to men, not to women. Number 3, section number 3 is from Parshas Re'eh, much later in Chumash Dvorim, and there, Baruch Hashem, we see another set of Isurim which we actually saw before, but these we're only going to discuss at the end of the Shiur. It says, Bonim atem, bonim veloy bonois, according to some, boys, the men, you are Hashem's children, lotis goidedu. Lisgoided is similar to sarotes. Yeah, lisgoided means that you're not allowed to take a tool, a knife, and actually scratch yourself with a knife to show sorrow, to demonstrate your sorrow over a dead person. And again, the Torah repeats itself by saying, do not create bold spots. It says bein inechem, between your eyes. It doesn't really mean only between the eyes. That's another discussion. It means not to tear your hair out of sorrow. Again, you know, there's a very nice idea. Why bonim atem? Even if your loved one died, you still are Hashem's child. Don't overreact when a person dies, as hard as it is. Lemeis, and then the Torah continues. Ki am kodosh ato Hashem elokecho. Why did it stress the words am kodosh? The words am kodosh seem to apply to women as well. You're a holy nation. Women are part of the nation, just like men. So this was just a very general overview of the different isurim that we're going to discuss today. Very important to keep the paper in front of you, because we're going to the psukim. This is kind of Gemara that analyzes, that breaks apart the psukim, okay, of the Torah, teaching us different limudim. Let's go now with the actual Gemara, and we'll relate back and forth to the psukim sheet. Chutz mi baltakif u baltashchis, we are in the 4th line in the Gemara. Lamed Hey Amud Beis, Kiddushin Lamed Hey Amud Beis, Baruch Hashem Siyata Dishmaya, Lamed Hey Amud Beis, we are, yes, sir. Chutz mi baltakif u baltashchis. So we have 3 isurim, said the Mishnah, that don't apply to women. What are they? Baltakif, a woman is allowed to shave her hair. She's allowed to shave her entire hair. She's also allowed to shave only here. Some women are very machmir. If they wear tichel, they shave over here, so even a little bit of hair should be shown. Make her din, that's allowed, but they do that. Ubal tashchis, she's allowed, if she has a beard. Some women have a little bit of excessive hair, in the face. It's like a beard. So she is allowed to shave it whichever way she wants, even with a tar. And also, tuma, a kohenes is allowed to be nitma lemes. Not everybody knows that. I once taught in a seminary, and a girl from like traditional background, she thought as a kohenes she's not allowed to go to cemetery. It's not true. Girls that are kohanois are allowed to go to cemetery, to daven, kibbutz tzadikim, or to the cave of a loved one, v'chulei. Bishlama frek the Gemara, asks the Gemara. Bishlama baltetam lemesim. I understand why baltetam lemesim applies to boys and not to girls. Dichtiv emor lekoyanim bnei Aaron, v'lo bnois Aaron. Says very clearly, Kohanim bnei Aaron, the children, i.e. the sons of Aaron, and not the daughters of Aaron. And then the pasuk straight away, as you're going to see, right in number 2, you see in section 2, more about tuma v'tara. Okay, ela baltakif or baltashchis minolan. How do you know that the surma baltakif of the payas and baltashchis of the beard minolan? How do we know that this only applies to men and not to women? Doesn't say only men and not women. Where do you take it from? Answers the Gemara. Dichtiv. It says in the pasuk, "Lo takifu pas roishchem, v'lo tashchis es pe'as zkonecho." Which means we see a takifu pas roishchem v'tashchis pas zkonecho is written together, right? Lo takifu pas roishchem. That's the first section, number 1. Vayikra Yutes. Lo takifu pas roishchem. Don't shave. Don't cut the corners of your head, and do not destroy your beard. Okay, so it's written together. So what? Whoever hashchosa applies to of the beard, also the akofa of the side of the hair also applies to him, and that is, in other words, whoever has a beard that he's not allowed to shave, also has the isser of shaving or cutting over here. Dani nashi, these women, since women are not included in the prohibition of hashchosa of the beard, so too They're not included in the Isser of what? Of cutting the corners, and they can shave over here. Okay, frag the Gemara, uminalan deloisnu bashchosa. How do you know the women don't have the Isser, the prohibition of shaving the beard? How do you know that? So there are two answers. One answer I already hinted to before. One possible answer, svara. It's a svara. It just makes sense logically. The law islu zokon. Most normal women, yeah, I didn't really check, but I think most normal women don't have a beard. It's not normal for a woman to have a beard. So I assume the Torah did not apply to her. This issue doesn't apply to her because she happens not to have a beard. That's she was born that way, right? A paper. Good morning, paper for you, very important. Yeah. The ha lo islo zokon. So because women happen not to have a beard, and therefore the Easter doesn't apply to them, right? There's no, yeah, and so too there's no Easter also, but the smichus apalshios to shave her hair. What? Ladybird. The ladybird. Okay. Some women do. The boy say makro. You're gonna tell me some women have a kind of beard. The boy say makro. Another possible answer, possible reason why baltashchis koncho doesn't apply to women. Why? Domalkro lo itakifu pas roishchem roishchem. What's roishchem? Your head in plural. Lo itakifu pas roishchem is plural. Yeah. Velo tashchis es pas koncho is singular. Right? Midishaniko b'dibure. Since the Torah changed grammatically, the Torah changed the Loshoin. Why? Because what should have been the normal way to write it? The Torah wants to stay with the same gender, the same number, yeah, from the beginning till the end of the pasuk. The Torah should have written Rachmana. The Torah should have written Pe'as, right? Right? Let's read the pasuk from inside the paper. The Torah starts to talk. The Torah is addressing the tzibur, plural. It should have said right? It's very glaring here that we start with plural and we all of a sudden change into singular. What is this? No, what's the story? It must be very good. Yeah, it's coming to tell me they get your beard, singular, your beard, and not your wife's beard. If your wife wants to go to the cosmetic, process and take face, not, I almost said face removal. Face removal is not a good idea. I don't think women should remove their faces. That's too much. But maybe she should remove the hair of her face. That's of those who need it should do it. And they can do it whichever way they want, even with a tar. Yeah, let's say with a very tough tar. Yeah, she doesn't. I don't know to do it. Yeah, the cream wax, the thing to do wax. Yeah, laser. Laser. It's very in fashion today all the time. Everyone talks about laser. So she can even do, instead of laser, she can do tar, no problem. Why? It says koncho. So far everything is beautiful. Up until now, we are doing perfectly great. Let's summarize. Why can kohan nois? I'm summarizing a little bit. 3 isurim in the Teireh do not apply to women. You can come home now, tell your wife, darling, with what kind of isurim don't apply to you? If she knows all 3 guesses, you buy her 3 diamond rings. So now, 1 is what? The isur of not becoming tom milames if she's a kohenes. Oh, a kohenes. Your daughter is allowed to go to the cemetery to daven b'kivri tzadikim. How do you know? It says emor el what? Emor el bnei Aharon. The Kohanim bnei Aharon lo bnos Aharon. How do you know that a woman is allowed to shave her hair over here, whichever way she wants, and shave the beard? The beard, it says, why? The beard doesn't apply to her either because she usually doesn't have a beard, or because it says dafkan singular, it says koncho los ganishtacho. And if so, since the 2 isurim of the beard and the hair are written together, what applies to one applies to the other. Just like the zokon doesn't apply to her, so too the hair doesn't apply to her. That's it. So far, beautiful, perfect, right? Oh, soon trouble is coming. Soon the roller coaster is about to, travel. So far, everything seems to be perfectly good. And so, by the way, nafkamina. What's a nafkamina between? I'll listen to you soon. What's a nafkamina between the two reasons? Is it because in reality they don't have a beard? but if it was normal for women to have beard, that would be different. Or is the Isser because the Torah says men and not women? What's enough kamina? Avodim, Eved Knaini. I don't remember where I saw it. I saw it somewhere when I was glossing over different information. Why? Eved Knaini halachically is like a woman. Yeah, he does put on tefillin. Oh, so I would say if it's because of reality that they don't have a beard, avodim have a beard. The Eved can have a very bushy beard. Why not? He doesn't have time to shave. He's working all the time. Yeah, Mashen can one. Mashen can. If you say it's mitzad the dosha, I would say no. If women are intrinsically, essentially not in the parsha of what's its name of beard, and avodim are always you always learn everything is reflected from women to avodim, then it wouldn't apply to avodim either. That's just a thought which I read in one of them. Ad kind of cult of you're okay? It's a very strong svara. Why bring a svara? That's it. To tell me that maybe an Eved would. According to what I said, it's very good. Because maybe that opinion holds that avodim have this. Yeah. And by the way, the Rambam says we haven't got there yet, and this sugya it appears in other places. I don't know where it's in our sugya. I haven't seen it in today's Amud. I think it's in Nazir. I've seen it somewhere in the Gemara in the Rambam. Women are also allowed to shave their husband's hair and beard. I'm not saying the husband be over an avera. That's a different question. Maybe he shouldn't have that. I'm not sure. But if a woman was megaleach her own, if I let's say shave someone else's beard, I'm over an Isser. Yeah. If I shave another guy's beard, those barbers, Hashem should have rachmanis on them. I don't know what's going to happen to them in Shemaim. I hope them all the best. You have to do tshuva quickly. But a barber who keeps cutting everyone's hair over here and tar over here, he's over an Isser. For a woman to cut the hair, according to the Rambam at least, her husband or son's hair, yes, she's not over. For Ktanim, it's allowed. For men, it's not allowed at the end of the day because of him. For Ktanim, I think some poiskim could be laloch, it's allowed also. For a woman to cut off her son's beard because she's not a rister and the son is not because he's below bar mitzvah, something like that. But I haven't prepared it today well enough. I'm just giving a general idea. This was off the record, even though it's they'll be discussed later. What? Good. You're not allowed to go to Gosher Barber because it's a sakana, and we learned it once. And people here told me that in a small town America, in a small village in America, he saw a guy running here. The guy said, I think one of the guys here said, yeah, he saw a guy running, bleeding over here because he said something to the barber, which the barber is very, very upset with politically, and the barber tried to cut his throat in America. Yeah, he said he saw it. You're still not allowed to go and have it done to you. As far as I don't know. That's not the discussion now. I hear you. Loida. I don't know. But Beseder. Up until now, all is very good. Now comes a brisa. Veloy. Frag the Gemara. Veloy. Is that so? Are you sure that a woman can actually cut the beard, her own beard? She has a bit of hair, but a beard. Is she allowed to actually shave the beard with mamishtar? Is that okay? Are you sure? Look at that. Vatanya. It says in the brisa, Zakan isha v'asoris. Yeah, the beard or the place of the beard of a woman. Yeah, the chin of a woman and the soris. The soris, a eunuch. A person who doesn't have, a masculine traits. He was not developed. He remained underdeveloped all his life. Shalosal, all of a sudden, against their nature. Let's focus now on the woman, not on the source. The source is another question, but a woman now is the focus of the attention. And lo aleinu, the woman starts having a beard. Haren kezokon l'chol divrei. End of brisa. It's considered like zokon for all intents and purposes. Shia. If a woman has a beard, it's a halachic beard for l'chol divrei, for everything. Yeah, for all purposes. Well, excuse me, my love, la'ashchoso. Well, I assume that if such a brisa is such a strong statement, it means la'ashchoso, that a woman is not allowed to be mashchis, literally to destroy, literally with a razor. She's not allowed to be mashchis the beard. Forget about your sources. This is against the Mishnah, right? So I don't know what you do with your sources and what you do with everything you say. A brisa seems to be talking directly against her Mishnah, and a woman should not be mashchis the hair. Answers the Gemara. And now, by the way, as Tosfos explains, I'm saving you a lot of work, and I'm not saying Tosfos inside now, but Tosfos says, now we need a stronger source. In other words, the source that we had up until now was a change. What was the real source for Zokon? Either reality, as you nicely said, reality is less of a source than Torah. It's a very Torah dikashkofa. The source was a change of word. Here it says roshchem regarding the hair, men and women, and for the beard it says koncho. That's a must. I know you don't like to look at it, but you need it, please, for this year. Yeah, the paper. Can you please press it down? Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So this is not enough anymore. Once we have a brisa that's so aggressively telling me clearly that women's beard is considered a beard, you can't just rely on a change in the posuk. We need something stronger. Yeah, that's what Tosa says. As you know, different limudim at different levels. Omar Abaye, here comes fun. Says Abaye, Lashchosa lo matzis omart. No, you cannot say that when the brisa said that a woman's beard is the beard, it did not mean regarding a shchosa. It meant regarding something else, as we'll see. But for a shchosa, no. Men and women are not the same. I stand by what I say, meaning I support our Mishnah, that if a woman cuts her beard with a tar, with razor, it's absolutely fine. How do you know? You bring me a source. You need a stronger source now. You're working against the brisa, Rabbi. The Yoli peas mibnei Aaron. Back to our psukim, section number 2 and number 3. You notice in number 1, excuse me, number 1 and number 2. Right? And the very end of number 2, it says peas zkonim lo yigalechu. Peas, a corner, the zingalach, the pe'a. We have one pe'a here, one pe'a over here, one mentioned by Kohanim, one mentioned by regular, Jewish people, pe'a. And just so, what does that mean? Oh, the Gemara at this point believes that in section number 2, in Parshas Emoil, the words bnei Aaron to exclude women, the first pasuk of number 2, bnei Aaron v'loy bnois Aaron applies to all the psukim, all the way to the end, including pe'as zkonom. So just like by the daughters of Aaron, the kohanois, yeah, just like by the women kohanois, it says what? Bnei Aaron pe'as zkonom. A kohenes is allowed to shave the peah of her zokon here, yeah, okay, pe'as roishchem. So too, a regular woman, pe'as applies to her also, that it's only the man and not a woman. A woman is allowed to have the tekifu pe'as roishchem and the pe'as zokon, pe'as zakonecho. No, I stressed the wrong word, by the way. It's not pe'as roishchem, pe'as zakonecho. Eventually, it's all one, but yeah. Here it says pe'as zakonecho, pe'as zakonom. Pe'as, just like by the Kohanim, it says only male Kohanim, not female Kohanim. So to by Israelim, by the way, it sounds a bit perplexing, and I think somebody here is maybe confused. Of course, at the end of the day, we know that all these isur, the hair isurim, apply to Kohanim and Israelim alike. But the Torah divided it to two. There's a very interesting ashkafic idea why, but the Torah divided the isur of shaving the hair the right way into Kohanim and Israelim. At the end, it will all be one big happy family. It will all be the same. Right now, the Gemara thinks is just like by female kohanos, it says pe'as only for men, not women. So to pe'as, we export it. The regular women, they too are allowed to shave their beards as much as they want, as much as the cosmetician tells them. Now, okay, so malala noshim pturois, afka noshim pturois. Very nice. Okay, as I told you, the Gemara is now doubting that. Frag the Gemara. If you think that the words Bnei Aaron in section 2 applies to everything, because as you notice in the Psukim, there's a reason why I divided it into 2. You see the number 2, look at section 2. It says Bnei Aaron in the top, then it talks more about Tuma v'Tohara, that's all Tuma. Then at the end, it says So the Gemara here has a question, is it or isn't it true that the words Bnei Aaron apply to just women also regarding Korcha, or maybe Bnei Aaron only applies to men, not women, to exclude women only from the Tuma. Yeah, but maybe the Pasuk Lo Yikruchu Korcha is already far, far away from Bnei Aaron, and it applies to both genders. That's what we're dealing with now. We're not sure whether the exclusivity of male Bnei Aaron and not Bnei Aaron, does it go all the way to the end till the korcha and the hair stuff, or is it only about Tumah v'Tara? That's a discussion here. It's driving me nuts. We need some momentum, and then I'll hear you. Okay. So zog the Gemara b'Yisrael and the chikos of Bnei Aaron akula inyon aksiv. if you really think that the words Bnei Aaron exclude women from everything, including from hair removal, if so, why do you need the Gzera Shava? Nishta Kromine. The Torah doesn't have to write payas payas. Leave payas payas alone. The Torah could have missed payas payas, as we'll see later. But I could have learned it b'kal v'chomer. What kind of kal v'chomer? Don't have payas payas. I don't need your Gzera Shava. Kal v'chomer better than Gzera Shava. What would be the kal v'chomer? V'ana amina. I would have figured it out myself. Kal v'chomer is a logical kind of limud. I would have said, listen to the kal v'chomer. Very, very easy, very logical. You tell me, guys, who have more isurim? You or you? Hey, peanut gallery. Hey. Who has more stuff he's not allowed to do? Him. He feels privileged. He can't fly over this airport, right? To fly over dead people and this and that. Kibrit tzadikim. You're Kodesh. You're a special guy. You have all these isurim that we don't. Zog the Gemara. Uma kohanim shiri bebemakosub mitzvahs yeserois. If the kohanim, the Torah has extra mitzvahs regarding them more than others, and yet, Bnei Aaron v'lo bnei Saroin, we see that the female kohanois, that by the way also have more halachos, like the Yitkochim, the Yitruma, right? And yet they're excluded, even though they're usually more machmir. Israel, kol sheken Israel, kol sheken a bas Israel was allowed to do more things than a bas kohen, or bas kohen shezinta. That's the female only. Bas Israel shezinta bechenik, bas kohen besreifa. So bas kohen, the choshev, even she's allowed to shave her beard. She's the big rabbit. So kol sheken a bas Israel, a regular girl from the street, avada she can shave her beard. I don't need to Gzera Shava, right? Elamai must be the mere fact that we have a Gzera Shava, right? Tells me that, right? 1 second. Yeah, I'm going to. Must be what? Very good, very good. I don't really need your Gzera Shava, right? Yes, your Gzera Shava is superfluous, and really it's hifsika inyan, which means no, I would say the other way around. Use the Gzera Shava for something else, payas. Use Gzera Shava payas, and really the pasuk emor bnei Aaron v'lo bnei Aaron does not apply to women, meaning the women have the issur of giluach. Thank you. 1 second. Let me explain the question. Really, you assumed that the pasuk bnei Aaron goes all the way to exclude women, all the way down to the end of section 2, including giluach, doesn't apply to kohanois. That's not true. Because if that was true that kohanois allowed to shave, I don't need Gzera Shava. I would say, of course, a kohanis is allowed to shave with a beard. Kol sheken bas Yisrael can. From the fact that you have a Gzera Shava, right, must be that we don't have that kal v'chomer, and therefore must be you misreading the whole pasuk. And really, Bnei Kohen are not allowed to shave their hair. And Bnei Yisrael are not allowed to shave their hair over here. What will do the Gzera Shava? I don't want to say go jump. It's not nice to say it in the middle of the shiur. Learn the Gzera Shava for something else, as we'll see later. I can repeat it if you want. Yeah. In other words, instead of going A, B, C, D, go D, C, B, A. Please stop it. Okay, whoever has the phone should please stop it. Thank you. Oh, good. That's a good idea. Yes, again, you're assuming things, says the Gemara. You're telling me Bnei Aaron excludes from Tuma, that I accept, and also excludes Bnei Aaron from what? From shaving. Bnei Aaron, they can shave whatever they want. Bnei v'lo b'nois. And then I have a Gzera Shava to Bnei Yisrael. Hey, stop it. Why didn't the Gzera Shava? Kal v'chomer. If Bnei Aaron are allowed to shave, and they're tzaddikas ador, and more isurim, kol sheken Bnei Yisrael. From the fact we don't do that, but we have a Gzera Shava. Again, Gzera Shava, as you all know, is something, I shouldn't say annoying, but it's set there. You have to have, if you have a Gzera Shava, it's glaring in your eyes, you can't run away from it. If the Torah is telling Gzera Shava, it means to tell you, there's no kal v'chomer. And if the issur of Bnei v'lo bnei Aaron would be about shaving, there would have been a kal v'chomer. Must be, therefore, I'm telling you again for the third time, must be the Bnei Aaron v'lo bnei Aaron is not excluding from giluach. And Bnei Aaron are not allowed to be megaleach. They're not allowed to be megaleach, right? Right? Therefore, I need a Gzera Shava. What's a Gzera Shava for? I don't know, something else. Go jump. Go learn something else. That's it. Now, I prefer continuing still, Bershutcha, unless it's very to the point and short. No, so tell me quickly. Yeah. We'll see that later. Yes, good. Beautiful. Zog the Gemara. Wait a second, says the Gemara. Let's go slowly. Ilav Gzera Shava hava mina hifsika inyan. Yeah, says the Gemara. No, if not for the Gzera Shava, I would have thought that hifsika inyan, right? If not for the gzer shava, I would have thought that the hifsika inyan means that bnei and not bnois is only for tuma. Of course, hifsika inyan means goes only for tuma and not for the giluach. And women koyanos are not allowed to be megaleach. Maybe the gzer shava, instead of being learned for something else, that's what the gzer shava is telling me. Gufa, the gzer shava, since we haven't yet found something else for the gzer shava, now we're working the other way around. ABC, meaning the gzer shava must be telling me compare women to women. So what's to compare? If women are like men, what's the chiddush? In other words, now we assume that the gzer shava must be talking to exclude women, or what else is there to do? And therefore must be, we're working the other way around. Yeah, before we thought hifsikainen is negotiable. No, up until before we thought that clearly the Torah says emor goes all the way to what's the name to the girls. Yeah, and the gzer shava is something else. Said the Gemara, no, there's no something else. The gzer shava is coming to compare women to women. Must be women are exclusive. The women in Kohanim are not like men. Others, what's gzer shava coming to tell me? Now it's one of these more the one rung leads to the other. Now we're coming to the arrowhead of the question. No, says the Gemara. No, I stand by what I said. I would cut number 2 to say Kohanim and not Kohanos applies only to Tuma. Masha'enken, shaving the beard applies to both genders. Gzer shava, as I told you, mibaile for something else. Now I'll tell you what. Now the genie is out of the bottle. What is this something else which I could have learned for the gzer shava, and that nixes, that cancels the women's special exclusion? What is the thing I could have inserted, I could filled in the gzer shava with to learn from section 1 to section 2, from Kiddushin to Emoer? It says as follows, and this is, by the way, very nogel halacha. It says, I'm going back to the psukim before reading the Gemara. If you notice, the first pasuk of Peas is Koncha in the first section, Pashas Kedoshim, below Tashchis. I told you what's Lashchis? To destroy the hair. If I cut my hair with scissors, even very, very close to the skin, but it can still a little bit of hair. I didn't destroy, right? Yeah, let's say, yeah, I didn't completely destroy, eradicate. Yeah. And the other pasuk, look at the bottom of number 2. Legalech, to shave, actually means with something sharp. I use a sharp metallic item. Yeah, 1 second. Says the Torah as follows. Between the two psukim, using Zer Shava, we import an expert to tell me the essence of how is the Isser of Giluach, how does it apply? Listen to this, a famous one. It appears in at least 4 different Gemaras. It says like this. Like in the Tanya. Loi galechu. Loi galechu means don't use a sharp object to cut your hair. Yochel gilcho b'misparayim yechayev. Let's say I cut my beard. What with scissors? Scissors, but something remains. Yeah, I use scissors or a shaver that leaves you a nice amount of hair on the face. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you can still fold it. Then am I chayev? Well, if you just go by the word yigalechu, I said shaving. It's true. Yigalechu means taking something sharp and cutting. Maybe with scissors also. Talmud loimer, no, you're not chayev on that. You can cut your beard with scissors. Loi tashchis. Lashchis means to eradicate, to uproot in a way that nothing remains. You know, these people whose faces look like a mirror, you know, like shining, you know, like, yeah. To be mashchis, to mamish pull it, to get it all the way till the root, that's ashchoso. Okay, so therefore, scissors that cause, not scissors won't do that. I'm using something that's so sharp and completely cuts it. Hey, wait a second. If you go with ashchoso, meaning to eradicate, to pull out, what about if I pulled it with tweezers? I took tweezers or something like that and I pulled it out. I pulled it out, a bit painful. Yeah, he pulled it out. It's hashchosa, even more than a shaver. A mamish pull out from the root. Maybe I'm chayev, because if you go the word hashchosa, destruction, uprooting, 1 second, then what? Maybe that applies to Talmud Lomer lo yigalechu. Yigalechu tells you no. Giluch means it should be done by cutting, by an act of cutting, not by pulling out. Haketzad. How do you make one big happy family from both psukim in Kedoshim and in Emor? Giluch sheyesh b'ashchosa mazel tov. You only it's a kula. It's a kula, by the way. You only chayev if it's both giluach. something metallic that cuts, and the cutting causes a shchosa, causes it to be almost uprooted, to be mamish skin tight. Every omer zetar, mazel tov. What's tar in English? Razor. Very good. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Very nice, Gzerashova. And that is, by the way, halacha l'maaseh. And now we are again stuck with a question, which I will repeat very gladly again. Now we got the final. The question took stages to morph, as it happens a lot. Let me just summarize the question for you, nice and slow. Now, if you have questions, it's all good. The question is as follows: You, says the Gemara, you're assuming things. What did you assume? That this Gzerashava Peyas is telling me what? Women. What do you mean women? Just like the girls of the Kohanim, they are allowed to shave their beards, yeah? So too the women of Israel can shave their beards. Excuse me? Who told you that women of Kohanim are allowed to shave their beards? It says, Aaron. Excuse me. Maybe B'nai Aaron applies to the very nice chunk of psukim at the beginning, excluding Tuma, which, by the way, all the time remains, non-debatable, right? Everybody knows, and we stay with that. Girl Kohanos, women Kohanos can join the trip, the class trip to the north to Kibbutz Tzadikim, yeah, to Kerstir also, and to Uman and to Lizhensk. The Kohanis can go and daven there all day long. Very nice. That's not a question. But how do you know that the pasuk actually applies also to the girls? The girls, yes, allowed to shave their beards. Maybe that stops there. So what are you telling me? Oh, listen. Well, the Gzerashava. The Gzerashava is coming to tell me something. If the Gzerashava comes to tell me something, must be what? Must be it's coming to tell me something about women and b'nei v'lo b'nois, because otherwise, what will it do with the Gzerashava? Says the Torah, no. Says the Gemara, I hit you now on a knockout. I found you now, the Gzerashava. Very, very nice and healthy, practical Gzerashava that applies to every Jewish man, every time, every day. What? You tell me the Gzerashava of Peyas is telling me, just like over here, it's only with cutting, so to over there. And just like over there, it says tashchis to really pull out, to do a real job, complete cut, so to here, which means only razor. Women, out of the game. And therefore, nothing to do with women. Which women are you talking about? And therefore, maybe B'nai Aaron only applies to B'nai, excluding women from Tuma. And maybe women, both Kohanis and Israelis, have the prohibition of what? Of cutting. And maybe the Brisa did mean what it said. And it's a Brisa. I'm not inventing things, says the Gemara. The Brisa says that a woman's beard is just like a man's beard. Oh, women's rights, women's lib. A woman's beard just like the man. And therefore what? And therefore she's not allowed to cut it against what the Mishnah said. Our Mishnah is in trouble deep. That's what we're holding right now, and I'm very happy with that. I think I understood it much clearer now. Hope so did you. I don't know who's first in line. Yeah. Yes, now the answer is going to come. Okay, question time, and then the answer of the Gemara. Now, answers the Gemara. Bam, bam, bam. Here comes the answer. If you want to tell me that the only Gzerashava we learn from Peyas is for the male people, to tell me that it's only also if it's both smoothing and destroying, nichtav kro es shebez konecho. My Peyas zekonecho. Why did the Torah have to add the word Peyas, which is redundant? Shma minatarti. We learn two things from Gzerashava. Back to the chart. Look at the first pasuk, L'tashchis es Peyas zekoncho. Says Rashi, even if the Torah would have missed the word Peyas, would have told me Lo Tashchis Zkoncho, right? I would have known it talks about Peya. How do I know? Says Rashi, look at the second pasuk at the end of Emor. Since over there it says Peyas, and we know Rashi brings you two reasons. One reason Rashi says clearly, Binyan Av. Just like over there, simple logic, we see that by Kohanim, what the Torah doesn't like is not the entire beard. Something I tried to tell you before. We say today that the entire beard is also betar, it's only a chumrah. In other words, there are corners of the beard, here. Element, there's a big machlokas, where are the corners? There are 5 corners in the beard, here, I don't know, different places. And therefore, because we don't know where they are, we forbid the whole thing, okay? But the word peya is important here, to say the corners of the beard. However, it would have been enough, would have been sufficient if the Torah told me once Peyas Zkonom, and I would say Zkonom Zkoncho, Gzerashava, I'll figure out myself that the other one is also Peyas, by being enough, by logic. Why did the Torah repeat the word payas twice? Basically, it says payas twice. Zkoncho, zkonom twice. One big happy family. To tell me that the Gzera Shova is the double Gzera Shova. A, it's coming to tell me tar and ashchotza together. B, it's coming to tell me women and women. Oh, if I know that there's Gzera Shova, women and women, that is to tell me clearly that Bnei Aaron does exclude all the way lo hifsik ha'inyan, because konom only applies to men, not to women. Now I know what the Torah, what the second function of the Gzera Shava, peas zkoncho, that's 4 words. Can you count till 4? Peas zkoncho, peas zkonom. Oh, twice. Peas, zkonom. 2 Gzera Shavas to tell me both for men and for women, and therefore must be the women of Kohanim are potter. Otherwise, the Gzera Shava would be redundant. Now, if so, now we're good. By the way, we're set. We should be happy. So back to square one in a good way. Back to square one. We close the circuit. We close the circle. Case closed. What do we know? Halacha l'maisa, women are allowed to shave their beards if they have any. How do we know they're allowed to shave their beards? From Gzera Shava, pe'az koncho, right? Just like the Kohanim are allowed to shave their beards, pe'az konecho, right? Pe'az konom bnei and not bnois, pe'az konom lo yigalechu. So to lo tashkes pe'az koncho applies to women pe'az. That's a new limud. Now the Bryce is in trouble. The Bryce did tell me that a woman's beard is just like a man's beard. What did the Bryce mean? Right? We just said that regarding giluach, it's not the same. And a woman is allowed to take a tar, a very treifish, some shavers are treif, yeah? She's allowed to take one of these super modern shavers and shave very, very strongly, and eradicate everything, yeah? That's okay. Well, okay, very nice. So what is the Bryce telling me? What did the Bryce mean when it said that a woman's beard is just like a man? Answers the Gemara. Yeah. If so, what the Bryce said, Kana Isha, line starts with the word Ha'isha, a few lines before the end of the narrow lines. Ha'isha baso shelu se'ar, Isha and eunuch that they have hair chalila coming out of their face. It's considered as a beard for all intents and purposes. What did the Bryce mean? Tumas negoim, mazel tov. A new boy in class, tumas negoim. What's tumas negoim? So we all know that a Mitzaira has white spot on his skin, and that makes him tomeh. And there's a very long and difficult process he has to go through. But it's not only true regarding skin, also true regarding hair. The hair of the face as well as the hair of the head, right? Both of them. If there's a yellow spot, there's a yellow spot on black hair, it's considered tumas negoim with the whole business. Oh, that's what it means. If a woman has a beard, a little beard or a big beard, I don't know what a woman has, she happens to have a beard, and on the bit of beard she has a yellow spot, if it follows all the conditions and the kohen saw it, she's tameh just like a man. Okay, that's what it means. Doesn't mean for shaving, it means for tsaras. Okay, frag the Gemara, what is the Bryce? Why does the Bryce have to tell me that? What's the chiddush? Frag the Gemara, tumas negoim behed yaksiva. It says mufurish in the Torah. The isha, if you hear me, oy isha, or a woman, can you be clearer than that? If a man or a woman have a blemish, a nega, not a blemish, a yellow spot, in where? In the head or in the zokon. So must be that it applies to women as well. Why does the Bryce have to tell me? I bet you $1 million, you're not going to see a Bryce that says you're not allowed to eat chazir. It says it's in the Torah. What it says in the Torah before is the Bryce doesn't have to repeat. No, the answer is no. Ela, so we have to now look for something else. To tell me that if she became tomeh because she had that pichi yellow spot on her beard, then the tahara process is the same as the men. In other words, the tahara process, once it's a mitzvah muchlat, it's a big business. Out of the thing, she's going out of the camp, then she has to have 2 birds, one bird is shech, one bird has to fly. A week later, again, she has to shave the entire body, bring a korban, now 3 korbanos. Long process, same for men and women. Frag the Gemara, you're not really moving me here. Taharas negoim namik pshita. Taharas negoim, the process of tahara, clearly should be equal for men and women. Why? It came on the bas tahara. Who would have thought otherwise? If the Torah tells me black on white, excuse the pun, black on yellow, that really the woman becomes as tome as a man if she has a white spot, a yellow spot in the beard. Obviously, the tahara is the same. Yeah, if she's in the story, she's out of the story the same way. And says the Gemara, itzrich. I don't know if the Gemara doesn't say Ella. We're going back now to the Tuma. We're moving one move backwards. Yeah, we're moving back to saying really that we do have to tell you, the Brisa had to tell us that for Tuma, yeah, the women are equal to men, the Tuma of the beard. What are you talking about? The Torah says, right? Isha, it says woman and beard in the same pasuk. Answers the Gemara. I would have thought, even after reading the pasuk, I would have still thought the following. Let's study. Means let's study. Whenever the Torah says let's study means I would punctuate it. I would break apart the syntax of the pasuk in a different way, which would seem logical. Listen to this. I would have thought like this. Let's study ksiv. Listen to the new reading of the pasuk. Isha kiebonega baroish. Yeah, a man or a woman who may have chas v'sholem nega in the head. They all have, hair on their heads, except for Satmar Chasidistas. Most people, or I don't know, clean-shaven people, we all have hair on the head, right? Men and women. Yof. Oy bazokon. All of a sudden, the Torah speaks about a beard. You tell me honestly. When you read the pasuk in a very balabatish way, before the Gemara and the Rashi, what would you think? Zokon applies to men. You don't connect women to Zokon, right? And also, the word bezokon, where is it? At the end of the pasuk. Oy bezokon hadar oson leish. Maybe the words oy bezokon only apply to men. I would read the pasuk in a very simple, unsophisticated way. Men, women for the hair. Oy bezokon, well, obviously means men, because only men have zokon. That's how I would have read the pasuk, breaking into hair and beard. Kamash malon comes a brisa telling me, no. A woman is equal to men, that her beard, if she has one, unfortunately, the halachos of Tuma and Tahara of Tsaras apply to her equally as to him. And the Brisa did have to speak it out. It's not definitely the natural way, the spontaneous way of reading the pasuk. Ad kan, here, last question session. Enjoy yourselves as long as you can. Yeah. Isi Tani, second wide line, Isi. Says Isi now, now we are about to embark on the last series of Isurim. There are two other Isurim, actually three. Two of them are very similar. If a person, lo leinu, is an ovel, yeah, he's not allowed to tear his hair over dead people. Ikrichu korcho. That applies to both section 2 and 3. Korcho means don't make a bald spot like tearing your hair in sorrow, or gedida and srita, don't scratch your body and bleed, yeah, in demonstration of sorrow. Let's see. Isitani, af balikrechu noshim pturois. Isi says, the Tana called Isi, he says, even the Isur of balikrechu, a woman is potter. I don't know if it's allowed, maybe not midorabanan, potter, midoraisa. If a woman hears lo aleinu that her brother fell chas v'shalom in Gaza, lo aleinu, so she is allowed to, or at least not chayiv, to tear her hair off. She's not married yet. She tears her hair off. V'mtsar, no problem. For her, it's okay. How do you know? By the way, it's not halacha, by the way. But that's what Isi says. My time. How do you know? My time at Isi. Isi has the following drasha. Look at the very last section, section number 3. Yeah, beginning of pasuk of Dvarim Yudalet, Pasha say, Bani matem Hashem Elokechem. You are the sons of Hashem. What he's going to do, don't be misguided, don't cut yourselves with a knife, do cutting. Don't talk to me about the bein einechem. Let's just assume now it's the hair, anywhere in the head. Don't tear your hairs, literally, because of the dead person, because an am kodesh. Boni v'lo bonos. Back to Isi. Says Isi, well, I read the Torah with the drasha. Yeah, boni v'lo bonos. Yeah. Okay, very nice. Boys are not girls. Girls are not bonim. They're allowed to tear their hair in sorrow. Lekolcho, frek the Gemara. How do you know? Why? The first word in the pasuk was what? Lot is going to do. Maybe the pasuk is excluding girls from what? From scratching themselves, even with a knife. maybe that they're allowed to do. Mashenkin, to tear the hair, they're not allowed. There are two isur mentioned in the pasuk, right? Not to cut yourself in the body and not to tear your hair. How do you know this comes to exclude the girl and not regarding the dida? Answers the Gemara, Shu omer ki am kodesh atol Hashem elokecha ar gdida omur. Very good. It says in the next pasuk, your holy nation. Who's a holy nation? Men and women. Women are very holy. Big tzedkanias. Yeah. The women and men, both of them, men and women alike, both of them are am kodesh, right? And that tells me to include the girl, but the isser of gdida, of cutting. Okay. If so, how many mekayim boni v'lo bonos? But the Torah is excluding girls at the beginning, boys are not girls. The kocha, okay. When it comes to boys excluding girls, that's true regarding kocha. In other words, there are two words in the pasuk. One exclusive, one inclusive. Bonim v'lo bonos excludes them. Am kodesh includes them. Okay. The inclusive isser is for gdida, but to tear the hair doesn't apply to girls. Who told you that? It's absolutely stam. You're playing chivyachol here, what? By chance, right? Who told you? Who told you that the pasuk boys are not girls? If anything, it should be the other way around. Who told you that the pasuk that excludes girls is excluding them from tearing hair? The one that includes them, forbids them, includes them in the isser of cutting their, I don't know, the skin of their arms, let's say, or here. How do you know? Answers the Gemara a logical answer from human logic. Merabi ani yesegdida sheyeshna b'mokom hase'ar v'shaloi b'mokom se'ar u'moitzin yisakocha she'enot b'mokom se'ar. Very nice. Which means the prohibition of gdida, which means to cut with a knife, applies to each and every part of your body. Both arms, I don't know, stomach, face, wherever she feels, or the head. It's more inclusive and stronger. Mashenka, the isser of tearing, only applies to tearing the hair of the head. Let's say somebody's so sorry, he wants to tear the hair of his underarms, the armpit. I may sound mishugana, but that's not forbidden. So you see that the isser of tearing the hair is weaker, smaller, applies to less body parts. And since we always tend to say that isurim that are light are also lighter in other areas, and those that are grave are always graver, so too over here. I don't know where to place the girls and where to exclude them. I say, listen, I assume that since the issue of cutting, chasholim applies all over the place, it also applies to both genders. And the issue that's more minimized into hair only of the head, yeah, applies to men and not to women. Okay. The Ema, and now soon Rashi is going to explain why the Gemara wants to go that way. Ve'ema bonim v'lo bonois ben lekocho ben legdida. Maybe the prohibition of, not the prohibition, actually the exclusion of saying only boys and not girls, maybe it applies to both korcha and gdida. Says Rashi, why would we say that? Look at the pasuk. The pasuk says, bonim atem l'Hashem elokechem. That's the shooting, that's the start of point, kickoff point of the pasuk. Boys and not girls. Listen, boys, not girls. Lot is going to do. The first words that I mentioned after boys is gdida, and you're excluding that. Doesn't read very nicely. And then lo tasimu korcha. You know what? Let's just decide bonim applies to both gdida and korcha. And what about am kodesh? But am kodesh is including girls for something. Kotzav ki am kodesh atol Hashem elokecha besrita u'dechtiv. Maybe what's srita? What's lisrot in Hebrew? With your fingernails or with your fingernails? Lisrot, yeah, when you have a boy and girl that's fighting at home and they speak Hebrew, you know it's lisrot very well. Yeah, lisrot is to scratch, like chatula. You know it's chatula? Very good. We're getting somewhere. Yeah, so we have a chatul soret. So srita also in halacha means to scratch with the fingers and bleed. She has to have good nails. And gdida is with a knife, right? That's not in modern Hebrew. Gdida is with a knife. So maybe, listen to this. Both korcha and gdida for both genders. It says bonim. Srita, which does not apply, which does not appear in that pasuk. Where is srita, my friends? At the end of section 2. Bibsorum lo yisretu sorotes. There, look, at the end of section 2 in Emor, by the Kohanim, Pashas Emor, they should not scratch over the dead. Yeah? Maybe that is the one that applies to women too. Answers the Gemara, and we'll finish with that. Isi, Kasover Isi, Srita Vigdida, Achas, he, bam, bam, bam. Isi, as opposed to what I told you, which is true in his halacha, Isi thinks that Srita and Gdida are one and the same. Both Srita and Gdida apply to both hair. It's both by, what's his name? By scratching Bayad or Bekli, either with a hand or with a tool. So why is it mentioned twice? The same thing. Just to add another Isser. If you do that, whichever way, you're over to Isurim. So therefore, there's no room to exclude women from Srita, not Gdida, because it's really the same, just repeating itself for more lavim. So Bekitzer, let's summarize Isi's opinion. Isi believes that the Isser of kolcha, of tearing the hair, applies to men, not to women, tearing the hair of kolcha because of the dead. Women, Idoraisa, allowed to do that. Why? It says bonim, excluding the girls. I didn't know bonim excludes that from the girls because it's a lighter Isser. It only applies only to the hair, not to the rest of the body. I would say it only applies bonim and not bonim. So what's a more grave Isser of Am Kodosh? Applies to everybody. That's scratching either with a knife or with your fingernails all over the body. It's a grave. It applies to everybody. Koyach. Questions? Repairs? You have any shilas? No, by dead. No. There is another Isser to harm yourself, more general, the Gemara at the end of the Choyvel, but it's not the Doraisa as severe as that. Why does it say Boni Matem? Says Rashi, you are beautiful people. Jews are Bnei Melochim, so behave like a Ben Melech. Don't make yourself ugly by cutting, definitely not by tattoo and all the shtriot, because we are beautiful people spiritually, and we represent something godly, and therefore we have to look good and royal and mechubadik. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody in YouTube that watches us. Thank you to all of you in Torah Anytime. I don't know who you are, but those of you who watch me in Torah Anytime are very, very blessed. May you have a good day, a good week, and may we all see Mashiach coming very soon. Atzlacha uvracha. Thank you very much. Paul Shek and everybody that came here this morning. Yishar